What are the warning signs of a toxic relationship? The biggest one I've missed. You find yourself lying to and/or avoiding close friends or family members due to your partner's words or behaviors. You may tell yourself they just don't know him/her that well, or they'd get the wrong idea, but if you feel like you have to hide things from those you trust, it's worth taking a step back and assessing what you're worried they would think and whether or not they might be right, and becoming isolated from your friends. They make you question your friendships, so ultimately all you have is them. This is huge. Many abusive partners will lie to your friends and family, make them second guess your character, and possibly even tell them you're being abusive to your partner. They will garner sympathy from new people you meet as soon as you're not around. Soon, you will have nobody except your abusive partner. You're completely isolated and no longer have a support system that can help you realize this. When you find yourself doing things not because you want to make them happy, but to avoid them becoming angry, this is a great one. Having to walk on eggshells constantly is not good. My parents have managed it for 30 years. One hell of a toxic relationship, but still together. When anytime you bring up something that's bothering you, he/she turns it back on you. I 100% agree with this. Had to be the biggest red flag I overlooked in my first serious relationship. Anytime I tried to bring something up to my ex about our relationship to try and work on it, all she would do is throw it back in my face with the "well you, ex," or "if you didn't, why?" It would always leave me feeling like the bad guy for bringing it up, and that I was just being stupid. The backquote issue I had was really no big deal. After a long time of being worn down by this and just keeping everything to myself because I worried that she would just freak out and make me feel like a piece of shit, I finally woke up and realized how toxic it was. This, among a few other red flags I eventually noticed, led to the breakup. If you are experiencing this with your ex/o, it is not your fault for wanting to talk about how you feel. It is a very healthy thing to do in a relationship and is crucial to helping it grow. If you're afraid to tell your partner anything, then you're definitely not in a healthy relationship. Not being able to share things with them for fear of getting in trouble or being judged, that's a slippery slope. Imo. Edit. Apparently it needs to be spelled out that this doesn't apply if you're afraid to tell them about a horrible thing you did, like cheating or murder. I'm not saying being afraid of facing consequences for your actions is toxic. It's toxic to be unable to share mundane things with your partner because you know they are going to twist them on you. This is the simplest one that I discovered after the fact. If you feel your phone buzz with a notification and your first reaction is a tightened stomach and caught breath, you're in a toxic relationship. You shouldn't react to communication with fear. Damn, I forgot about this one. Great point. When your significant other doesn't want you around anyone else, when they try to isolate you from friends or family, is a huge warning sign. I feel like I have a friend going through this, and I'm not sure where to draw the line between. I need to respect his boundaries and priorities, and accept that his girlfriend is more important to him than me, and this is troubling, and I think I should intervene. We used to hang out, average, once a week. When he got a girlfriend, initially she was one of the guys, and would hang out with us. We all got along with her, etc. Over time, like boiling a frog, she started occupying more and more of his time. These days I can't get him to commit to an hour of playing video games online a month. We plan it out. He gets online. Within 15 minutes it's, "Oh, my girlfriend is home, I'm going to go spend some time with her." "You still gonna be on in 3 hours?" Over the weekend we had plans to meet up for cards and shooting the shit, which used to be a pastime we all, his girlfriend included, enjoyed together, but that's due to scheduling issues. One of our crew has a wedding in a few weeks and another is juggling 2 small kids. That's friendship in your late 20s for you. We hadn't been able to do for maybe a month or 2. He didn't cancel, just didn't show. I confronted him, and he very nonchalantly said, "Yeah, I decided to spend time with my girlfriend instead." Like ghosting your boys is the most normal thing in the world. Just bizarre. He's moving across the state with her in a few weeks, and went out of his way to try not to tell anybody. It's all just weird. I feel like it's definitely not healthy, and if I was dating someone who took all my time away from my friends, I'd put my foot down. But if I say something to him, then I'm the needy best friend or something. Belittling. That's the first sign I know. Yep, often as jokes or helpful advice. Is it possible to get more details or examples on this? Things like "that's so dumb you should have done." Or constantly saying "you're too" or "not enough." I was told I'm too soft a lot and not assertive enough. Which is interesting given how he'd treat me when I tried to assert myself. People fear change, not just in themselves, but in others as well. When a typically non-assertive person tries to assert themselves, you are igniting change in everyone. They notice the difference you're trying to make, and even if they thought it was something you should work on, once you do start working on it, they shut you down. To enforce the status quo. If you make yourself bigger, that means you're making them smaller, and people fear that. When breaking up becomes a reoccurring argument, or constantly breaking up and then getting back together a few days or weeks later. My ex and I did this about 5 times. My sister and her ex did the same. I told myself specifically that I would never go through that. The first breakup is the final breakup. I've had 3 girlfriends in the same sort of toxic relationships, but not in the sense that you might think. For them it has boiled down to the fact that 100% of the time, they were the ones giving about 90% of the effort and their partner was giving about 10%. Basically, if you are putting in all the mental and emotional labor all of the time and your partner always has an excuse for why it's happening, or wants to placate you without taking action, you are in a toxic relationship. One friend's husband refused to get a job because he essentially thought that he was entitled to a job in his field and his pride wouldn't allow him to do anything else. He quit all attempts at side hustles like Uber that he started, despite her being very vocal about not being able to support them both. She crunched numbers, she tried to show him graphs, she looked for creative budgeting solutions, and stretched their budget as much as she could, but none of it worked. Another friend's fiance refused to go to couples or individual counseling. He came up with every excuse in the book like "the therapist I want is waitlisted to my shift just changed and I need to get used to it we don't have the money. I'll do it when we can afford it." A week after we don't have the money, he presented her with a 2-week European vacation package that he was about to buy for them. That proposed vacation was the last straw for my friend. It was essentially the perfect wake-up call that revealed how comfortable he had become in their relationship as it was, and how he wasn't willing to do anything but what he wanted to do. The problem with these types of toxic relationships is that on paper, it doesn't seem like the sort of thing you break up over. It's insidious. It creeps up on you, and you may not even realize that you're the one carrying the load all the time. It's "sure honey, maybe next week" over and over. Then you make excuses yourself. He's tired, or he works so hard, or he's such a great guy. Aside from this, or it's not, like he's beating me, or gaslighting me, or being mean to me, I should let this slide. And then before long you're both just existing. One partner quietly unhappy, occasionally mustering the energy to say "I'm unhappy, and I'd like to change this." And the other partner feeling no sense of urgency, disagreeing with the idea that things need to change, unwilling to actually change, saying "yeah, sure, let's talk about it next week." When your problems are no longer important to your partner, you need to start making choices to move on. I agree with this to an extent, but it's definitely not a golden rule. Sometimes people just like having problems, or they refuse to take the necessary steps to resolve them, or anxiety prevents them from fixing it. If you let them, these people will use you as a crutch and suck all of the energy from your life. See term, energy vampire. I'm sure pretty much everyone has a friend or family member that exhausts them emotionally to the point where you need several hours to decompress from being around them. Not letting you enjoy your hobbies by complaining about you doing them, not giving enough attention to them, or making those hobbies seem immature, stupid, or useless. This one is so true. I'm an artist and stopped painting for 2 years early on my toxic marriage. But after I left, within less than a year I got a job as a professional artist. Getting out was so good for me, smiley face. Someone who takes but never gives. That one's the easiest to identify. Not always. Sometimes one person gives a lot, but it's things the other person never asked for, and then it gets used as leverage. I had an ex that was always giving me little gifts when I don't want little gifts at all, and it's always some item that's useless to me, but something she really loved. It's like she was doing it for herself and not for the person receiving the gift. Sometimes the person that gives a lot and gets nothing doesn't even know what they want or need, or they are really bad at communicating their needs. It's not always so easy.